Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tech, and I wanted to give you my thoughts so far for Cyberpunk 2077. I've played a good 25 hours of this game. I finished up the first act and have been doing side missions and main missions galore. And well, the game has some issues. What we have here is a hot mess, and even then, it's only hot if you have the right rig. I'm running an i7 4770K, came out in like 2013, a 1080 Ti, and some 1866 megahertz DDR3 RAM. So my rig isn't new by any means whatsoever. It's quite dated at this point. But typically I don't have any issues playing a game on 1440p and pushing things to the higher end. Yet this game, I have to set everything to the low preset, and even then I don't get 60 frames a second. I've been playing with config file settings, graphic settings, but the game just looks okay at best, and it sits somewhere around 50 frames a second. And frankly, this is a little sad given the recent state of games. I've poked around at some of the newer games here in 2020, such as Doom Eternal, and that game looks gorgeous, and I get all the frames one could ever want. Heck, I even heard you could run that game on a Tamagotchi.
Doom Eternal, which could run fluidly on a Tamagotchi, is going to be sorely disappointed. And obviously, that was hyperbole.
Jokes aside, I did see the recommended specs and knew I would likely be running on the lower end of things. I just didn't expect it to be this bad. At least it looks better than the previous gen consoles, which is so bad Sony's removed the game from the PlayStation Store and CDPR has offered an apology. It feels like the devs went for pure eye candy and focused on the latest gen technology and left everything else by the wayside. So if you're one of those few that was able to snag a 30 series card, this game is probably looking pretty sweet. And I think this is where all the good reviews are coming from. See, the four main components of a game, story, gameplay, graphics, and sound, they have to work together. And if one outshines the rest, it can cover up issues in some categories. Likewise, if one is awful, it can just bring everything else down. And I think that's what's happening here. Those able to play it as intended with RTX on high settings are able to look over these flaws and bugs more easily because the game looks so incredibly good. But for the majority of us who aren't able to get a 30 series or a new console, be it due to stock or price, we're stuck with the okayish graphics and thus aren't able to overlook these flaws as easily. And there are a lot of flaws and a lot of bugs. I don't go a session without encountering a few of them. Most of them aren't game breaking, but they are very much immersion breaking. From finger guns.
Come on, V, shoot!
Can't keep her steady.
To randomly exploding trash. Duplicate NPCs found mere feet away from each other. To being told to pull out your gun and the gun pulled out isn't even one you have in your inventory. I know these sound nitpicky, but they are all very noticeable and they quickly add up. Beyond that, we have actual core mechanics that are unfinished. For example, this hacking minigame you see right here. You'll see in the top middle that the breach time remaining is about 35 seconds. And that number isn't ticking down. Right now, I have all the time in the world to look through the sequences required and figure out how to input them correctly. The timer does not start until I start inputting the sequence. And when you do start inputting the sequence, nothing changes. You have literally 30 seconds to go through and click the buttons of the combination you already sat there and just figured out. Why on earth do I have a 30-second timer? Why are there abilities to increase said timer? Now, maybe if the timer started right when the menu opened, or maybe if the nodes changed as you were hacking them, or even if we just changed the system that you could only see a certain percentage of the nodes based on your hacking skill, all of these would make more sense. But right now it's just obviously half-baked. Another core mechanic is the crafting system and the inventory system. It just is awful to navigate, it's horrible to try to sell things. Dismantling is a little bit easier, thus using the crafting system, but you'll quickly find that you can craft things for less than it costs to dismantle. Thus you now have an infinite resource loop to get as many resources as you want. And you can't craft in batches, you can't select, okay awesome, I want 5 grenades, let me craft 5 grenades. Nope, you have to go through and do 5 individual grenades. And there's no sound when the crafting finishes. Same thing with ammo. This and many other core systems feel like this is just the first iteration, as if playtesting didn't happen or QA wasn't done. Now, I have no doubt they can be fixed and be turned into great systems, but right now it feels like it was shipped half-baked. The gunplay feels okay, though the enemies do feel a tad bullet spongy. I don't get how it takes 10 plus headshots to take down a guy, but a stealth takedown punch is a one-hit kill. The tech guns and smart guns are a ton of fun, though it does feel like cheating at times. Melee combat feels okay. I hate how their homing punches still hit you even when you double tap to dodge. Oh, and I hate double tap to dodge. Just disable that and give me a button. I'm not far enough into the skill trees to give a final verdict. They feel okay at best, but we'll see as things progress. I hate how the best gear makes you look like a random hobo. At the beginning of the game, as you're creating your character, across the top it says, "In Night City, looks are everything." And you're giving this rather extensive customization option. Yet in-game, it looks like you're literally wearing whatever you picked up off the floor, because that's literally what you're doing. And all of this is honestly just the tip of the iceberg. Yet 25 hours in, I'm still playing. The main story has me interested. It's what's kept me going. Not the personal story. That lifestyle choice you made at the beginning only counts for about 30 minutes and then a couple of conversation options. It doesn't seem to add much more at all. But the main story itself has been enjoyable. We'll see how that continues. The game is like a good book. You're turning the pages, it has your interests, things start to get good, then you turn a page only to find it stuck? This is a brand new book. Why do I have a stuck page? So you gingerly try to peel them apart and you find some of the words are now torn and rubbed off. It's still readable, but you've been taken out of that moment. You could compare it to a movie. Things are getting good and then you notice some tearing on the screen or some odd freezes, the kind you'd experience if you had a slightly scratched disc of some sort. It's still watchable and good, but your attention has now been drawn away from the good parts. And this happens way too much in this game, and it hurts the overall experience. If I had to decide right now, is it worth your time? My answer is no, unless you have a 30 series card and are able to overlook the plethora of bugs and issues. Wait another 6 months, maybe a year. There is a lot of potential with this game, and it could very well be incredible. The developers of this game, CD Projekt Red, have done great work in the past. So I do think that they are going to bring this game up to snuff, and at that point, it will be incredible. But for now, we're just looking for a redemption like No Man's Sky. As of right now, it's been removed from the PlayStation Store, refunds are flying around, and I've heard rumors of a class action lawsuit. So, though I'm enjoying my time in Night City, your mileage may vary. Well, there you have it. My name's been StrifeTech, and thanks for watching. I'll be sure to provide a full review on this game once I'm finished. Subscribe so you know when the next video goes live, and then feel free to hit me up on Twitter or in the comments as to what game I should play next.
NC's Legends. Know where you'll find most of them? The graveyard. Matters not where you're from.